Hello and welcome to APTN National News this Wednesday afternoon. I'm Sav Jonesa. Thanks for joining us. The Manitoba Metis Federation says it will not participate in a meeting with Canada over Bill C-5, also known as the Canadian Economy Act. The meeting with the Prime Minister and Métis political leaders is set to take place on Thursday, but MMF President David Chartrand says inclusion of the Métis Nation of Ontario and the Métis National Council undermines the summit's integrity. Chartrand also says it puts into jeopardy the path forward for projects of national interest. Chartrand held a press conference in Ottawa today to announce it would not participate in Thursday's meeting. Chartrand contends the MNO is an organization, quote, built on Indigenous identity fraud. The MMF president says Canada cannot ask the MMF to sit in a room with a, quote, non-rights holder like the MNC. The MNO says the summit marks an important opportunity to advance shared priorities between the MNO and Canada. We'll have more on this story tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern. On August 18th, federal Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre will try to win a by-election in Alberta after losing his Ottawa area seat in the April federal election. It's considered a safe riding for him to win, but that hasn't stopped Cree NDP candidate Catherine Swampy from running against him. APTN's Chris Stewart has more.
On April 28th, Progressive Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre lost the riding of Carleton to the Liberals, a riding he represented since 2004. With no seat in the House of Commons, newly re-elected Member of Parliament Damien Couric from the Battle River Crowfoot riding stepped down, so Poilievre could run in a by-election. Former council member of Samson Cree Nation Catherine Swampy has run before in the riding, and she is running as the NDP candidate for the by-election. She believes the Conservative leader should have listened to the voters who voted him out.
I feel like what he did was very selfish. He doesn't own the Conservatives. A lot of the Conservative people are very upset that he did this. That is something that when I'm knocking on the doors, people are telling me they're very upset that he did that. They feel like he should have gracefully stepped back and allowed for a leadership run to happen within the party.
Swampy says people are angry in this by-election.
This run is a sacrificial lamb. You're not going to win, but it gives you a platform. It gives you this advocacy where you can come in and talk about the issues that are ignored by the government. And as an Indigenous person, we have so many issues that are ignored by the government. So, of course, I jumped at the opportunity to run here.
Swampy also took aim at Prime Minister Mark Carney and Bill C-5, which allows projects considered to be of national interest to be fast-tracked for approval.
Bill C-5, where he's just trampling on Indigenous rights and he's bulldozing through environmental rights, and he's just trying to push for industry to be able to go ahead and just basically erase all of the work that not only First Nations but environmental activists have done in the last 10 or so years.
Swampy was at the debate on July 29th, which Poilievre also attended.
He didn't really answer any of the questions. I felt like, you know, this is clearly a politician that has been there for a very long time. He knows how to sound like he knows what he's saying, but I was waiting for answers and he didn't really answer anything. So it just seemed like he had a lot of smooth words, not a whole lot of answers.
With over 200 candidates, voters will write the names of their candidate. Voting is on August 18th. But Poilievre is widely expected to win and once again be a member of Parliament. Chris Stewart, APTN National News, Samson Cree Nation.
An annual canoe trip in the Northwest Territories, organized by the Clecho government, had to airlift some of their members after an unexpected wildfire encounter. Video journalist Bruce Dela Cruz has more.
The annual Trails of Our Ancestors canoe trip sees Clecho citizens, mainly youth, canoe from their respective communities to the annual Clecho government gathering happening in Pitiquay this year. Founded as a way for Clecho citizens to reconnect on the paths taken by their ancestors, this year's canoe trip saw a record-breaking 160 paddlers and 28 canoes taking part. 42 paddlers from Gamity were evacuated via airlift after encountering a wildfire on the way to Pitiquay on August 3rd. While some were able to return to Gamity before smoke conditions worsened, others were flown to Pitiquay and are staying with family or friends in Pitiquay or nearby Yellowknife while waiting for smoke conditions to subside before they can return home. There were no reported injuries during the evacuation. Canoe groups from the communities of Wikon and Wati are safe and are scheduled to arrive in Pitiquay this weekend. In a statement released on the Tlicho government website, they said of the situation that we know the sudden turn of events may have been difficult, and we're proud of the strength and calm shown by the Gamity group. The annual Tlicho government gathering is next week in Pitiquay, where they are celebrating 20 years of self-government under the Tlicho Agreement. Bruce de la Cruz, APTN National News, Yellowknife.
And in Manitoba, some disappointing news for skateboarding fans in Winnipeg with the upcoming closure of a popular downtown indoor skate park. Here's APTN summer intern Kyler Minchell with that story.
When Pitiquay Skatepark opened in the Portage Place Mall June of 2023, many in the skate community hoped that it would become a staple of the downtown area. But now, barely 2 years later, and the executive director of the park, Dan McRory, has been informed that they will need to close down and relocate.
So we've got to relocate from Portage Place here at the end of September. We were given notice for the relocation in March, and we've been working ever since to sort of find a place and where we're going to end up.
The reason for the move is because of the recent purchase of the Portage Place Mall by the True North Realty Group. They intend to turn the mall into a healthcare center and residential tower.
The skate park has a huge impact on the community. I mean, we're a safe, healthy environment for everyone, particularly at-risk youth in the neighborhood. Some of the proven concept of that is on a night like tonight where it's beautiful outside, we might get 10 or 15 kids from the neighborhood that come and skate here instead of the skate park out there because it's they know what to expect. They can come here. It's a safe place.
Pitiquay Skatepark was a community and Indigenous-led effort with an eye towards inclusivity. This is reflected in the name for the park, Pitiquay, a Cree word meaning welcome or come in. Admission is $10 for people over 25 and $5 for people under 25. The park and its outreach programs are free for Indigenous people and kids.
One thing we're doing right now that it's summer is we're going out to skate parks and communities all over the city and offering free lessons. So we bring gear, we have boards, helmets, everything anyone might need. So keep an eye on our Instagram and the website, and that'll let you know where we're going to be, and anyone can drop in and learn how to drop in.
19-year-old Dylan Byrne has been skating at the park since its grand opening and has been working the front desk, assisting and coaching other skaters for the past year. He says the indoor skate park will be sorely missed, particularly in the winter when options for skaters are greatly limited.
Working the front desk, there's definitely a few regulars that come in that will miss the facility, and especially in the winter, like there's some days we had max capacity and we had to tell people that we couldn't let them in to skate, which is kind of not the best thing to do. It doesn't feel the greatest. So definitely having a new space, more people, all of that will be great.
McRory says they don't have a place to relocate to yet, but they have several in mind. They hope to stay in the downtown area. For APTN National News, I'm Kyler Minchell in Winnipeg.
Music and culture took center stage at an event in Ontario. We'll have that story coming up after this quick break. Stay tuned. Welcome back. It was a pageant of music and culture as Wikon First Nation, located on Manitoulin Island in Ontario, kicked off its annual Arts and Music Festival on Friday night. It's the 7th year to host the event. APTN's Annette Francis was there to capture some of the highlights.
It beats me like him blue, but it cuts me so good, and I can't get enough. Must be love on the
emerging artist Alicia opened this year's celebration with her powerful voice. Kaylee is from the Algonquin and the APTN Nations. She's been mentored by Crystal Shawanda for the past 4 years.
I ended up doing a singing competition online for Indigenous artists, and there was a little bit of issues with that, but I ended up winning, which was great. But there was some bullying that happened online. It wasn't great, and Crystal kind of found me through that and was like, "What the heck's going on? Like, you just won this competition, and people are being so hateful about it." And she kind of offered me this opportunity to start working with her and try and build a platform, build my music, and really turn myself into a much bigger artist than I was before. And now I'm creating an album and really starting everything off of that, and it's been incredible.
Shawanda says it's been amazing working with Kaylee and watching her grow. This is the stage where Shawanda first sang as a child. Although she's now a famous performer, she always takes the time to make it home to Wikon.
I love my home. I love it here. I always say the hardest part about leaving is staying gone. I love to come home as much as possible because I want to stay connected, not just to my family, but my community, my roots. That's so important because it's very much a part of who I am as an Indigenous person, is not just my family, but my community. These are the people, they've watched me grow up. I've been singing on this stage since I was 10 years old, and they watched me. So today, my daughter is going to be making her solo debut on the same stage. So, and I'm excited that my community gets to be a part of that, and I'll never stop coming home. It's still very much home, even though I've been in Nashville for 21 years.
And stand in the joy where I've never stood before. I will stand in the joy, I will stand in the joy.
This year's headliner, William Prince, wowed the audience with his performance, but it was Shawanda's 8-year-old daughter who stole the stage. Jason Manitowabi is the coordinator for the 4-day event. He started the music festival in 2018. He says having Crystal Shawanda every year is amazing, and her daughter Jaja is an extra bonus.
Amazing. I mean, if you can imagine her still touring while she was carrying, so Ja's been hearing that same voice and the music since she was in the womb, and it kind of just natural to her to have, parents that are touring musicians. So I was amazed. She's so mature with her voice, and it's just the whole structure of it, and it's disciplined already. It's quite amazing. Yeah.
As the musicians played on stage in Thunderbird Park, 4 youth from Wikon put their culinary skills to the test in the Youth Master Chef Showdown. Grilled vegetables and salmon were on the menu. The competition took about an hour to complete. Then contestants served up an appealing dish for the judges' taste buds. And Serena Trudeau was announced the winner.
I just won!
Chef Joseph Shawanda has been cooking professionally for 28 years. He started when he was 16. He's happy to mentor and encourage the youth to try their knack at the profession. He says the youth cooking competition was close.
Phenomenal contestants yesterday. It was so close, within points of each other. I was pleasantly surprised, and they all got to cook one of my recipes that I created for the college where I teach. So it was good to see the other aspect of the students who haven't been into culinary yet and who want to get into it versus the students who are in the classroom already. So the 2 different variations there was phenomenal.
I'll have more on the festival. Annette Francis, APTN National News, Wikon First Nation.
Thanks for that, Annette. We now want to tell you about this week's web poll question. Do you support the building of a pipeline from Alberta to the east coast of Canada? Your options are yes or no, and you can go to our website, aptnnews.ca/poll to cast your ballot. We need to take one last break, but stick around. We interview a woman who hopes to become the first Inuk psychiatrist. That's in just a few moments. Let's see what today has in store for us. It'll be lots of sun on the East Coast, 22 in Halifax, 23 in St. John's, 22 in Cartwright, and 24 in Happy Valley Goose Bay. Montreal will be 24 and lots of sun, 22 in sun in Quebec City. London will be foggy and 24 and 23 in sun in Sault Ste. Marie. Wawa and Elliott Lake will be 24 and sunny, 17 in sun in Big Trout Lake. Churchill will be 18 with a little bit of cloud and 20 and foggy in Norway House. Winnipeg will be 20 and cloudy, same with Gimli, and 21 in Princess Harbor. Regina will be 20 and sunny, 19 in sun in Saskatoon. Stony Rapids 18, Uranium City and Meadow Lake 19. Today will be 27 and sunny in High Level, 20 in sun in Fort Chipewyan. 25 in Medicine Hat and 23 in Edmonton and Red Deer. Vancouver will be 19 and 20 in Quesnel. Fort Nelson 28 and sunny, sunny and 22 in Prince George. Old Crow will be 9 and it's 25 in Watson Lake. 21 in sun in Yellowknife, 18 in rain in Norman Wells. Tuktoyaktuk will be 3 and sunny, 1 and possible snow in Sax Harbor. Chesterfield will be sunny and 10, 10 and a little bit of cloud in Cambridge Bay. Iqaluit is 14 today and 1 in Resolute. Up next, APTN News spoke with Dr. Alicia Monigan, a recent graduate of Northern Ontario School of Medicine, who is an Inuk woman originally from Hay River, Northwest Territories, determined to become Canada's first ever Inuk psychiatrist. She recently spoke with our Dennis Ward about her journey to achieve her dreams.
Dr. Monahan, thanks so much for being here with us. I guess to start off, can you tell us a bit about what inspired you to study medicine in the first place?
A big part of why I chose to study medicine was just the fact that when I was studying nursing in Yellowknife, I saw that there was a definite lack of Indigenous doctors. And I felt as though, you know, if I wanted to make a big difference, although nurses make a huge difference in the lives of their patients. If I wanted to kind of be that change that I wanted to see, I had to do the thing and actually apply to medical school. And that's kind of what brought me to medicine, as well as the support of my husband, Patrick. And growing up in a family that really fostered a sense of altruism. I had parents who used to foster kids. I grew up in a big family that, you know, always wanted to be generous and, you know, a part of a community. So that was kind of instilled in me from a young age.
As an Inuk woman, have you faced any barriers of any kind?
In some ways, you know, it feels as though it can be very lonely in this system because there's not many Inuit medical students to begin with. So at times you can feel that there is this lack of representation, and that really kind of makes the whole idea of imposter syndrome even worse. Like, I'm sure every medical student struggles with that, but if you add into that whole Indigenous identity, being an Inuk woman, that was something that I had to overcome, and I'm still, you know, in some ways struggling with to this day. So it's a learning process.
Right. Well, speaking of being, you know, like lonely, who's been your biggest supporter in your journey so far?
Definitely my husband, Patrick, my son, Eli, he's 8 years old. My parents have been such a big support, as well as my mother-in-law, Maxine, and my in-laws on that side, as well as Kitikmeot Inuit Association. They were able to fund a lot of my journey as well in nursing school as well as in medical school. So that's been a big part of it. And my community, you know, that I've been so happy to see like Facebook comments where people are saying they're so proud of me, and it just makes it feel so much more worth it. And, you know, the fact that hopefully I'm able to inspire like other Indigenous youth who want to pursue these positions of power, because, you know, we deserve to be in these places.
Absolutely. Going to get to more on that in a second. I guess, though, what for you have been some of your milestones so far?
Well, today I did my first STACER mock exam, which was where I get to see a patient and interview them and then kind of come up with like a biopsychosocial formulation, talk about my management plan. So that was just something that happened today. Celebrating at IPAC was such a rewarding moment. To have that recognition was so huge, and to be able to celebrate with my son and my husband at my side. Getting the recognition from KIA and really just graduating. There are really some dark moments at times in medical school where I thought it might not happen, and to be able to just graduate was awesome.
Yeah, well, huge congrats on that. What are your plans after you complete your residency at Dalhousie University?
It is so hard to say because, my son is 8 years old, and in some ways I do want to maintain this sense of stability. So we are in Halifax right now. I wonder about staying here because I feel like I'm indebted to Dalhousie for taking me on. But I also feel indebted to NOSM. I was able to do my 4 years of medical school there. I have like a group of friends in Thunder Bay still, and really I feel indebted to Yellowknife as well. I did my social work diploma, my nursing school there, so I'd love to return or work in any of those capacities. And even if I were to locum and do some work up north, Nunavut, where my mom's from, it would be so wonderful.
Awesome stuff. Yeah, Northern Ontario School of Medicine is a good place. I guess finally here, Dr. Monahan, why is it important that we have Indigenous healthcare professionals, and what advice would you have for those looking to join the industry?
It's so important to have Indigenous healthcare professionals because, when we think about the social determinants of health and, the role of colonialism in our ability to access healthcare, it is so important to have this representation in these healthcare spaces. It promotes a sense of cultural safety, and it promotes this sense that we are worthy to belong in these spaces, and we're worthy of being advocates for our own people as well. For those who are considering medicine, who are just considering post-secondary, because even just that is it's such a struggle at times when I think about like my hometown of Hay River, how hard it is to leave your hometown. It takes a lot of bravery, and it takes a lot of believing in yourself and pushing forward and making sure you're surrounding yourself with people who support you and who believe in you, and knowing that, in the times of darkness, those times aren't going to last forever, and the payoff will come, and it'll be so sweet, and you'll feel so much more validated and ready and hopeful about the future.
Wise words there, Dr. Monahan. Just a huge congrats again on all your accomplishments, and thanks so much for taking some time here for us.
Thank you so much.
Well, that's all the news we have for you this beautiful Wednesday afternoon. Make sure to check in again at 6 p.m. Eastern for more stories from across the country. For now, I'm Sav Jonza. Thank you for joining us, and take care.